Hey, would you guys want to see what it's like to fly from Myrtle Beach to New York in this COVID environment?
Yes, I would.
All right, well then just keep watching. So it's time for us to visit some family. We did take the precaution of going for our COVID tests, which were negative, and we're going to see what the experience is like flying to New York. Plus, it's been over 6 months since we've seen some important family members. So, ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's head to the airport.
Hey now, take a step outside and seize the day now.
Myrtle Beach Airport is located on the south side of Myrtle Beach. You can find it right in between Business and Bypass 17. Okay, so we made it through TSA. About the same as before COVID, except they had to scan our boarding passes ourselves. They didn't touch them. But they did take the ID and make you take your mask off. So now we're just walking to the gate. Okay.
It's very empty here too today.
Definitely not the normal volume in the airport. Now, before we could board our flight to New York, we had to fill out a New York State health form, which is part of the quarantine process. All right, so we're at the gate of Frontier, and they gave us the New York State forms, so we have to fill out the health forms. I'll show you can take a look. So as you can see, it's a 2-page form with all sorts of information they need. So this is because South Carolina is considered a hot state, so we have to go in quarantine for 2 weeks when we arrive. The good news is you only need one form for your party as long as you're coming from the same house and staying in the same place. So Sue's filling it out now. And then apparently we have to turn it in when we get to the airport in New York. And apparently it's being collected now by National Guards, not health department officials, but the actual Army National Guards who will collect the forms. And then I guess they follow you during your stay to make sure that you actually don't leave where you're going. So this is going to be interesting. Now, you don't have to stay in New York State for 2 weeks, but you're encouraged to continue the quarantine even after you leave. Now, supposedly you'll receive text messages during your stay to make sure that you're staying in quarantine. However, during our 3-day stay, we did not receive any messages. Hey, that's our plane over there, so let's move on to our trip to New York. There was a temperature check when we boarded the plane and we wiped down the seats in front of us. Because of COVID, no food or drink were served during the flight, and you were required to keep your mask on at all times. We were advised that if we did not keep our mask on properly, covering our nose and mouth, we would be placed on a no-fly list with Frontier and every other U.S. carrier. Soon, we were on our way.
In the unlikely event of a cabin decompression, remove your face covering and immediately don the nearest oxygen mask. Make sure to adjust your oxygen mask before assisting those around you.
We took off from Myrtle Beach with a great view of the sunset to our west. As the sun set, the top of the clouds developed a magical reddish glow. Take a look. And soon it was night. After a 1 hour and 20-minute flight, we landed in New York. When we arrived in the airport, because of the quarantine restrictions, we had to check in with the Army National Guard. You can see them behind Sue. Okay, we made it, but by New York State law, we have to stay in this house for 2 weeks, although we're only going to be staying here a couple days, then we're going back to South Carolina. So essentially, we're under house arrest. We can't leave the house because of the COVID regulations here in New York State, because we come from a hot state, South Carolina. So what do you think of that?
Well, thank God your mother has a treadmill, so
Yeah.
I'm down in the basement doing my walking.
Yeah.
Because we can't. Plus, it's kind of cloudy out today anyway,
Yeah.
and chilly.
Yes.
I miss South Carolina. I want to go back.
So believe it or not, we're staying at my childhood house. My parents still live here. This is the room I actually grew up in, believe it or not. And we're here. We're here. If we're going to be here for an extended period of time, we couldn't leave for 2 weeks, but we're just staying for a couple days, like we said. So, all right. So, you ready to start your visit?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. Let's visit the relatives. So, what do you do when you're in quarantine in a Sicilian home? You drink wine, of course. Okay, back at the airport in Islip, heading back.
That's right.
Have a good 2-day trip.
We had a very nice time.
Great visit, great visit. You can see things are still kind of empty around here. Take a look at this. So we noticed on both of our Frontier flights that the front of the plane was crowded, but the back of the plane was empty. So if you want to fly without a lot of people around you, book your seat in the back of the plane. Until next time, safe travels.